In today's video, we're going to talk about 5 doors that you need to open to be successful. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to relate them into stories about how it has helped me in my life and a lot of stuff that I did accidentally. I'm grateful for that. A lot of stuff I did accidentally or other people came into my life and they gave me the information. And I just believe that it is my duty to be able to help people like you open up the doors for success. Because number one, I believe that because you're watching this video because you have a belief in yourself that you want to be successful. So I got my notes right here. This is going to be a good one. You might want to go ahead and grab a pen and paper, pause the video, because this is going to be very good if you're struggling with getting your business off the ground, or if you're struggling with ramping up your business or scaling your business. This will be a video for you, because I'm going to talk about some things that you may not be aware of. Also, I understand that all of us, it's not just you, it's all of us. We want certainty. We want things to we don't want surprises. We want good surprises, but we don't want bad surprises. And what happens with our mindset is we start to want certainty. So it kind of makes us not want to do certain things that don't make us feel good. And we want respect. We want people to see us. We want people to acknowledge us. We want to feel good about ourselves. We want to, some people want to feel powerful, like they got power. Regardless of the specific feelings that you want, I believe that all of us want to be able to take care of ourselves, our family. We want to be able to make good money. We want to be able to live comfortably. We want to be able to do the things that we want to do. And that's really what this video is about. And before I get into the video, let me just tell you why this is so important to me, is because I had to walk through those doors. I remember I was 22 years old. 22 years old. And in my life, I had started my business at 21. And there was a situation that came up where I had to walk through that door. I had to walk through that door. And this is what I mean by that. In 1990, my wife and I started our first successful. We tried other stuff, during that time, but our first successful business, it was an advertising publication. We went to small businesses and said, hey, you can't afford to be in a daily paper. We have a free publication that's distributed to all of the stores. People pick it up, see your ad, and they'll, hopefully do business with you. We built $1 million business off of that. But back then it wasn't $1 million business. It was just making, at that time, probably like 36,000, I think, from my memory, about 40,000 a year. That's what it was on average of making. I was able to quit my third shift security guard job at that time, and we just went for it. We were like, we're not going to work for anybody. We're just going to go for it. We're going to make this work, because I was making more with my business than what I was making with my third shift security guard job. Well, we had got a contract. So for the certainty, like I mentioned, we always want certainty. Part of me being okay with quitting that third shift security guard job, which was not paying me barely anything. It was $364.84. I got that drilled in my mind, because I would never want, to go back to something like that. But it was $364.84. That's what I was making every 2 weeks, $6.25 or 35 cents per hour back in 1990. So it even with knowing that and making around 30-40 grand on what it was going to be for the year, averaging out, and that it could be 30-40 grand with the business that we started, I still had that feeling inside of I needed to have that certainty. The paycheck from the company that I worked for was certainty. Even though it was small, in my own mind, it was certainty. So something that had happened with the businesses where my wife and I got this contract from a grocery store to pass out flyers around the neighborhood, and it was $2,000 per week to do it. And because they were like, they didn't want to pay to go in the papers because it didn't really distribute around their areas because it was only for subscribers who paid. And in that area, they didn't have a lot of subscribers. So they were like, what can we do? They hired people to do it, but they were throwing them away and, just had trouble. And we were like, we could do this for you way lower than what you were paying the other people that were throwing them away, and we'll guarantee it. And they were like, how you guarantee? Because me and my wife are going to do it throughout the whole week. It was worth it to us for $2,000 a week to do it. I'm pretty sure even in today's money, $2,000 a week would be good if you're going to be the one out there doing it. And so what we ended up doing is we did it, and then we ended up hiring some people. And I think the contract lasted for a couple of weeks, and then the company was like, we're not going to do it anymore. I don't even remember the reason why. I think it was a universal test to see if I wanted to really be in business. They canceled the contract, and I panicked. And I told my wife, okay, the business is going, but I got to go and try to find something else to supplement our income. And I remember this like it was yesterday. I went to a local mall, and I applied for a security guard job at that mall. And I remember the guy I was across from him at the table, and he said, we don't normally do this, but we will hire you right now. I don't know if he was probably BSing, whatever they trained him to say. But he said, you're hired if you want the job. And I thought to myself, right there was the door. That was the door, one of the doors that I'm going to talk about here in a second. I said to him that I apologized for wasting his time, and that I had started a business and something had happened. And, I don't know how I described it to him, but I said, I know what I did say with this part is I said, I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to go back and give it my all for my business. And I went back outside to my wife, and I told her I got the job, but I didn't take the job. And she was like, fine, what are we going to do? We're going to do our business. And we made that company into a multi-million-dollar business that actually was the kickstart of everything that I have to this day. And from that day in 1990, I've never worked for anyone else. I've been 100% self-employed, and I've employed. Just think, if I didn't walk through that door and have take that feeling of uncertainty and just put it aside, that I would not be able to have probably over the time that I've had my business, more than 300 people work for me. I currently have over 140 people working for me now with my various businesses. And I would not have experienced a life that I live right now. I'm in a bank building that I purchased a bank building and had it redone, made this office the way that I wanted it in my boardroom with all of the stuff that I have. I would have not experienced any of that stuff if I didn't put that uncertainty feeling to the side. So now, let's get into it. Let's get into the instructions. I just wanted to share that story with you. And just in case you don't know, my name is Stephen A. Williams. The channel is Making Money with Stephen A. Williams. I do not sell business opportunities to people, so don't worry about that. What I do is I consult with business owners on how to make their businesses work. And one of the number one reasons why businesses don't work is because the mindset of the business owner. So now let's talk about the doors. So we're going to start from someone who has just started from the ground floor, because this is what I wanted when I was starting off, and I got it through various people, and I want to pass it on to you. I believe that that's a duty that I have. So the first thing you got to do is you have to make that decision. But see, this is the thing. Let me tell you, this is the thing that we don't understand about a decision process. We think that we're just saying yes or no. Let me talk about some of the things that happen in a split second. In a split second, when you're confronted with having to make a decision. There's emotional triggers that go off. It fires off inside of all of us. And those emotional triggers are going to be based upon your life experiences, your parents, your beliefs, your environment, capabilities, your religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs. All of that stuff is going to fire off on the inside in a split second, and you're either going to say yes or no. So remember when I said I put my certainty feeling aside, because that certainty feeling could be the link to not wanting to be able to move forward, a limiting belief. Like I could have said to myself, oh, this is what I knew this was going to happen. And I go back to that certainty side, which was going to be failure and things are going to just be the same as they always been, which is a level of comfort for people. Like not have to try to be successful and not being successful is a level of comfort for people. It could be right now, that could be your existence where you try something, you fail, and you go back and you say to yourself, I knew it wasn't going to work. And you have a level of comfort sitting there because you were right. You were right from the beginning. You said it was not going to work. So you got to be very careful. So now what I want to do is I want to interject this book. It's called The New Psycho-Cybernetics. So, because a lot of people be like, well, who are you, Steve? You know, businessman. What, you know, where do you, give me some factual data on this. Well, Matthew Maltz, he had wrote this book about how he had studied people who were in the Jewish people who were in the concentration camp, and then he studied other people too. But that's where it all started, where it was where a person, even if you take them out of a situation, in their mind, they will still have those triggers that'll come up and they will do things as if they were still in that situation. He talked about where people had actually lost weight, like they lost weight. And you see this with people who have eating disorders, is where they see themselves with the weight, even though they're in good, physically fit, and some of them have lost too much weight. But it's something, the way that they see themselves. And in other videos that I have had, I've talked about that we see ourselves and we see the world through this filter, that we don't really see it as it is. And so you have to be very careful. So when you're looking at making a decision, you have to understand that you're going to be triggered by numerous things. And a lot of that is going to be based on, just like what I said here, it's going to be based on life experiences, your parents, your upbringing, your beliefs, environment, capabilities, religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs. You have to put all of that stuff aside. You have to put all of that stuff aside. Now, the second part, which a lot of people are buying, trying different things. A lot of people are trying different things, but there are some people who can't even get to first base. Next thing is buying in. Now, most of you are right here. You will buy in. Buying in is like giving your money. That's access. That's access. But you have to also buy, and what I call 1B is you have to buy into doing it. A lot of people buy access. Think of how many things you've probably bought, ebooks or MP3s, videos, courses, all types of stuff. And how much of that stuff have you actually put into action? How much of that stuff have you actually put into action? Be honest with yourself. And the next thing is 1C is you have to stick to it, start to finish. This is very important. When I learned this stick to it, start to finish, what started to happen is that I could look at opportunities that maybe there was an opportunity that came my way. And I'll give, and a good example is real estate. I own commercial real estate, but at one time I was doing flipping properties, and my wife and I, we would go either bid or try to buy them from the bank and do all of this stuff. And we ran into an issue with one of the properties that we had. That if you watch all of the TV shows and all of the different real estate seminars and all of the stuff that they talk about, they never get into this part because they have people mostly here buying in with doing it. But this is going to be like, if you want to, you can put this one here and put like a star. Because if you do this one right here, you do this one right, you're going to be way ahead of other people, because this sticking to it from start to finish, that's where you start to really become a business person, where you really start to cut your teeth on really becoming a business person, because business is about solving problems. And what I started to find, what I did find was, even if something was not going to work out, because I did it from start to finish, completed whatever it was, that I was, number one, I was better off as a business person by just having that mental strength to be able to make it through it and be done with it and know that we just didn't quit. And then also I learned that during that process, I was able to start figuring out different ways of thinking, because some of the times I limited myself. I had to like expand my thought process to say, is this really failing because of my limiting beliefs? Is it really failing because I'm not really putting the right type of action towards it, doing the right things? Because there's a secret sauce to every type of business. So I had to figure that out. And some of the times when I did it, stuff was not going to work, and I just had to let it go. And that's a part of being in business. You got to let stuff go. But doing it from start to finish will, number one, make you not be one of those quitter people where they'll buy access, do a little bit. You see this a lot with network marketing. Do a little bit, no success, and then they end up quitting. The next one is you have to internalize. You have to internalize the opportunity. This is what I mean. Let me give you an example. Have you ever heard the statement, it's business, not personal? I used to say that a lot because, number one, because I had heard it from other people. But when I got into business and when I started doing business with business owners, and when people came to me to do business with me, and like with you right now, listening to this video, taking time out of your personal life to listen to this video about business, business is personal. And every business person, from the struggling business owner all the way up to multi-billion-dollar corporation owners, think about it. We all take our business personal. So get that thought out of your mind. You need to internalize your business. It needs to become a part of you, to where you think, have some thought process. I'm not talking about where it overcomes you and you can't, exist without the business. What I'm saying is that if you care enough to be in that business, you need to care enough to take it personal. The next one, number 4, is you need to take massive action. You need to take massive action. Now, in this book here, Laws of Success, and it's page 1019, I highlighted this here because there's a couple of ways that you could take massive action. But the important piece of it is that you got to take massive action. Now, Napoleon Hill talks about with taking massive action is where there's 2 ways you can build a business. One where you could be in the business, one where you could be a part of the business. You own it all, but you put a team together with the business. But regardless of which way you do it, you got to take massive action. But one of the things that tend to happen when you take massive action is that people start to put their limiting beliefs, their limiting behaviors, their limited capabilities on top of the business. So if you're the one that runs the business, you're a one-man show, or maybe you have a partner, you have to be very careful of when you take massive action that you don't put those limiting beliefs on top of that. Because one of the things that I found with myself was that when it was mainly on me to push the business, is that I would find that I was putting my limiting beliefs on that business, even though I had a level of success, is that the way that I was pushing that business was basically based off of what I pushed the other business. And you can't go at business that way. And then on the other side, the flip side, which Napoleon Hill talks about, is another way you can build a business is you can build a team, and then you can let that team run the business. So with each one of those, if you do it and you put the plan in action, or you build a team and it's put into action, there's one thing that both have to have, and that's a plan of action. And when you put that plan of action together, you have to take massive action on it, and then you make adjustments. This is where a lot of people make the mistake. They think that because the plan of action didn't work, that the whole thing was a failure. No, what you have to do is you take the massive action, or you have your team take the massive action, and then you look at the results, and then you make adjustments based off of those results. That's how you'll continue moving forward. And Napoleon Hill talks about it. You can get this book. Go to page 1019. He talks about putting together a team. He talks about taking getting rid of people who are going to make you feel inferior. He talks about letting the plan be worked and then make adjustments, but you got to have a plan and allow the plan to be able to be worked. He goes into full detail about that. And then the next thing, number five, is you got to allow it to work. You got to give it some time to work. Just this past weekend, I was making a decision on if I was going to keep a sales rep, and something that I did that was different than what I've done in the past. Even the way that I do things, some of the times I can catch myself doing stuff the same way in the past, even though I think I'm doing something different, is that I said, I'm going to look at the data to see if I should keep this. It's for a sales rep for one of my companies. I said, I'm going to look at the data to see if I should keep this sales rep. I'm going to judge them fully on the data, not on my feeling. I'm going to base my decision on the data. And when I looked at the data justified that I should keep that individual employed with my company. And so that's a huge part of allowing it to work. Allow your business to work. This is not like going up and ordering food at McDonald's. Business is not that way. To be successful in business, you have to give it time to work. And it's going to be different for every type of business. So the best thing, the best advice I can give you is if you get into the mode of doing everything that's from 1 to 4, you will have to give it time to work, because you're going to be looking at the results and the changes in your mindset. That's the stuff that you'll be focusing on how you're giving yourself a chance to be able to be successful. And while you're giving yourself a chance to be successful, automatically time is going to pass, and you'll see. Like one way that you can look at it is look at the stock market, how they say over time. When they do investments on real estate, they'll be like over time, unless you're doing flipping a property. So most investments that are worth anything, and that includes a business, it's going to grow over time. And all you have to do to protect yourself, to make sure you're not in a losing battle, is to stick to it start to finish. And what I've learned is that when you stick to it start to finish, you're going to shrink. You're going to shrink that time frame that's in between fail or start to success. Like, you'll be able to say, okay, we did this, we tried that, all of those things, and you'll know that you were either on the right track with a business that could succeed, or a business that just was doomed to fail. And really the easiest way to know if you have a chance at succeeding with a business is to run the numbers. Well, number one, are there customers for that business? And then run your numbers, and then don't take this word the right way by saying, are they realistic? But when I say, are they realistic, is there a realistic plan to be able to get to those numbers with advertising your business? Because that's going to be your way to success. Is you're going to have to be able to figure out a way to acquire customers, and then a way to continue to keep customers either coming back if it's a recurring type product, or if you're going to be selling to new people all of the time, like people use your service and maybe they won't use it again, then with that business, you're going to have to look at additional products and services that you can sell in your business to be able to make up the difference. All right. If you post your questions and comments, I'll be in there answering those during this week. And if you ever find a need of needing some consulting, I'm a specialist in helping business owners generate more leads, sales, and really more leads and sales. Because if you have more leads and sales, a lot of this stuff will work its way out.